So, quick update. I think I am learning a lesson, and I was trying to figure out what the lesson was exactly, but I think I'm learning how to let go of control. I had this conversation with my daughter, and I was telling her about like all the stuff that I basically had no control over, and I was like basically telling her how I had this moment during this week where I was like frustrated, and I got upset, and I started to feel a little bit overwhelmed, and I realized like no matter what I do, I have no control over the situation. No matter if I cry about it, no matter if I yell about it, no matter if I get upset about it, no matter if I scream about it, I have at this moment no control. There is nothing I can do to change it. All I can do is keep pushing and doing what I'm doing, but in the end, I have no control over the outcome of the circumstances. And I think this whole situation has been very difficult, but it's teaching me these like hard lessons that I guess I never learned before. And it's teaching me like I don't have any kind of control over it. I have control over no one else. I have control over nobody's life but my own. I don't have control. And even in my life, there's certain things that are happening that I don't even have control over either. All I can do is accept it for what it is, understand that this is where I'm at, respect that this is where I'm at, not get upset about it, and then just like try to navigate through it and move forward. And I've been to an AA meeting before because I've gone with someone else to support someone else, and they would talk about like accepting the things you cannot control. I've heard it before. You accept the things you can. Learning to know the difference, and I know I probably just screwed that whole quote up and I didn't say it correctly, but you don't ever realize it until you're in a situation and you don't have control. So I'm here and I realized I don't have control. I was telling my daughter about it, and I was like, your mom had this moment this week where usually I would get overwhelmed, and I was dealing with anxiety for, months. At first, I never had anxiety, and then all of a sudden, I'm dealing with anxiety. So I'm like processing how to like control anxiety, and I had this moment this week where it felt like the walls were closing in, and I don't know, like the storm, like it was a storm outside, and everything was shutting down. And for a minute there, it just in my head, I said to myself, what are you doing? No matter what you do in this moment, you have no control of the outcome. And like the biggest thing you can do is just let it go and accept it where you're at. And I guess I never learned that lesson because on some level, I think we all have a false sense of control. You believe you have a lot more control over circumstances than you do. You believe you have control over your relationships, like your intimate partners. You believe you have control over your, family, and some level of control, like, your family relationships, your children, your job, your work, the environment you're around. You believe on some level you have some control because you control if you decide to show up, if you don't try to show up, and your involvement in the situation. But not until I actually sat in it this week that I realized like I am totally powerless. Even the thought of me thinking I have control over it is no control. And I was telling my daughter, even if I was in a situation today and somebody was trying to make sure that you were in a situation, you were down, so that you would learn something. Um, I think I'm learning that I don't have any control over any of this. So why be angry? Why be upset? Why cry about it? Why be frustrated? Why be explosive? Why attack anyone? Why be bitter? Why be spiteful? Why be resentful? It's not going to change that I'm going to still be here. Nothing I do is going to change it other than the fact that me actively working to get out of the circumstances. All I can do is get up every day and work towards trying to get out of the circumstances. I feel like I can definitely do better with like time blocking and time management, and there's stuff that I can do better on my end so I can get out of the circumstances better to, reach my goals. But to be honest with you, nothing I do is really going to change the circumstances today. There's no magic wand that I can just like wink, like, and then it's just going to make it different. Nothing. Um, there's nothing I can do that's going to just like snap my fingers and it's going to be it's going to do a 180. It's just the reality today. And I'm learning to just accept it for what it is.